Grant Hill back in his day was tough.
Yeah! Grant Hill was a beast! Grant Hill was a beast!
Yes.
Get it any way you can.
Timing is everything. Yes, sir.
Okay, an important question, because I know how much you love golf.
Play tomorrow.
East Lake or Peachtree?
East Lake.
East Lake.
That wasn't even a question.
Okay, my last one. You, Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon, and Zion Williamson in the slam dunk contest. Where would everybody place from first to last?
I once saw a movie said if you're not first, you're last. I'll start there. And I'm betting my money on me. And I respect every one of them, and I think they all have put on the show. Well, Aaron and Zach, we haven't really seen Zion in the dunk contest professionally. We know he has potential, but you got to win one first. Well, you got to be in it first. I'll say that, but I'm roll with me. I have to.
Rightfully so. Okay, seriously, you talked about.
But young me.
There we go.
Throw that in there.
Great clarification. You mentioned 22 years in the NBA. Did you ever think that you would play this long?
I did not. For some reason, coming in the NBA, I had a target goal of 15 years, and I said, some of the elite legends of the game played 12 to 14 years. And I figured, like, if I could play 15 years, I've accomplished something. And you're just, as far as just playing, not even scoring trophies of any kind, just if I could last 15 years, that would be a heck of a career. Once I got to 15 years, you know how I was. 2 more years. 17 years, 2 more years. 21 years, I was like, 1 more year, I'm done.
So it's been, 22 years. No one else in the history of the NBA has played that long. So what was the secret, or what is the secret to your longevity?
What's the secret? Well, I ask that question frequently, and the one thing I tell everybody is my willingness to do whatever it takes to stick around this long. Because you can look at a laundry list of things that I have to do to play each and every night to compete with guys who are 19 or 20 to 22 years old. I have to get here early, but I'm willing to do it. I have to, sometimes, like when I get home, I'll Normatec, I ice, I'll do a stretch. I'll stretch in the morning, real quick, just to stay loose. All these things I have to do. It's just my willingness to do it. So, I could give that list to any person out here who's feeling like, oh, you're doing it. Give me that list and I'll do it. The point is, if it's 15 steps and you start to skip a few, then you're gonna start to skip a few and start to skip a few, and then next thing you know, you're not prepared or you're not able to compete at this level. And that's tough to do, so that's why I said my willingness to really stick to that script, and it's become a part of me. So it's like, I don't think about it, it's second nature now.
Testify.
Good stuff, good stuff. Now, you have had plenty of iconic moments throughout your career. Dunks on people, slam dunk contests, game winners. But I'm curious, I know you're still playing, but as you peek back and you reflect on your career, what are the things, what are the moments that you remember, that stick out to you?
Ooh. 22 years, a lot of moments. First, I start with being drafted. You work your butt off to get the opportunity to even get a tryout, and you get drafted. And then draft night was interesting for me because I was traded immediately after for my college teammate, Antoine Jameson. So I was introduced to the business. Go Heels. I was introduced to the business of basketball. Sorry, bro. I was introduced to the business of basketball immediately, and from there I just kind of just wanted to prove that I was worthy to be here and won the Rookie of the Year, and then the dunk contest, then getting the opportunity to play in the Olympics and representing my country. Obviously, jumping over a 7-footer is probably a moment you never forget. And I tell you, opening ceremonies was one of the most amazing things I've ever been a part of in my life. I mean, it's one thing watching it on TV, but it's another thing when you're representing your country and you walk into that stadium and seeing hundreds of countries and just the mutual respect. And I was like, I made it. It just gives me chills to this day. So every time I see it, that's one of the things I'm thankful for.
You made it, man.
Was an opportunity.
You made it.
And then obviously receiving that gold medal was, I wish I could say I have it at home because I don't. My mom has it. So I've never said I have it at home because I don't. At some point, I would like to actually hold it up. Because you remember last summer you asked me if I had my medal, and I was like, yeah, and I really didn't. I was embarrassed to say I don't have my own gold medal. But it's a proud moment that, of course, at that time I was like, yeah, Mom, I have it. But now I'm like, can I get my own medal to show off? But it's whatever.
It's great. Vinsanity. Now I remember Vinsanity and how crazy it was. All Canada and the United States. I think your second year is when it kind of all really took off.
Yeah. I think it took off for me.
Second year?
Yeah, after 2000, really, after the dunk contest. When they say it literally happened overnight, it literally happened overnight. I feel like I went from missing my warm-ups in the dunk contest to performing in the dunk contest to holding that trophy to meeting Dr. J, who was my hero in the back. First person after to congratulate me was unreal. To playing in the All-Star game on Sunday, playing well, and then Monday, it became just a different world for me. As far as just media attention, popularity, and I was thankful to have a lot of veterans on my team who played with the stars of stars. I had, Oakley who played with Jordan. I had Kevin Willis who played with Dominique. I had Doug Christie who played with Magic. I had Dee Brown who played with Bird, and Antonio Davis who played with Reggie Miller. So they prepared me for what it was like, and I was all ears. And it's a different game now. It's a different world where we veterans were holding on. I'm holding on for dear life because it's not a lot of us. I mean, just because the new generation is younger and younger. But I felt like that was essential for me in my growth. Obviously, don't take this wrong. Obviously, coming in from the great North Carolina, learning how to play the game the right way, Coach Smith prepared me how to play. And the reason I say that, because when you get older...
It's subjective, I mean...
or whatever. But I say that because as I started to get older, I was able to rely on my knowledge of the game and learning how to play. And I wasn't flying as high, wasn't getting as many shots, but I still knew how to play the game. Fast forward to where I am now, I'm in my 40s, and I'm still receiving calls from NBA teams asking, am I willing to still play? What's my availability? So, I mean, that's a testament to, I guess, the Coach Smith on how to play. So,
Are you making an announcement tonight?
I made my announcement. My announcement was made a long time ago, but unless you know something.
I don't know anything. So, you brought this up, but I remember during Vinsanity, we had some good battles, but you might have one of the all-time greatest nicknames, half man, half amazing. Now,
Thanks to Kenny Smith.
yes, thanks to Kenny Smith from that school in Chapel Hill. But do you realize that it might be whole man, whole amazing if you're going to Duke? just looked at it. I'm sorry.
Let me think about that.
No, but I want to. You mentioned the game has changed.
Yes.
And you obviously came in the '90s. You caught the tail end of Jordan, as you mentioned, and a lot of the legends that played in the '80s. And now you're playing with and against Generation Z, Zers, I guess they call it. And so just talk a little bit about how the game has evolved and how the game has changed through the years.
The game now is faster, not as physical because it's faster. I went from no zone and legal defense was a little different to now what we consider stretch fives. We have centers now shooting threes and doing everything. The game, you don't see the post up. Like I made a living as a post up player, and you don't see that much. I mean, you have the Joel Embiids. You really have to think now. I played when there was Shaq, then it was Duncan and Robinson. Obviously, Barkley I played against. I'm really showing my age.
You are old, man.
Hey, wait, I got another one. Olajuwon.
You played with Elijah.
I played with him. So, I got this opportunity to really see you learning how to score with the paint clutter because of the bigs who didn't really step out on the perimeter. And as the game changed, got faster, I just had, like I said, my knowledge of the game really shine through and just learning how to stay in front or try to stay in front of some of these young guys now. And I came in as a 2 guard and I'm playing the 4/5 sometimes, so I just use my old man strength sometimes. You guys saw me having to guard Boban, who's 7 foot everything, and I just try to outsmart him. Somebody like that, I wanted to stay closer to him because if he turns an elbow at me, he takes all this out. So I just use my strength and just try to outsmart them, and that's how I'm able to really stick around and you never forget how to shoot.
It's true. It's not easy. You've seen examples of superstar players in our league who, as they get older, they can't transition. And you have gone from superstar, Vinsanity, half man, half amazing, to now like quadruple OG vet.
There's a lot of G's behind that.
Yeah, but how has that transition been? Obviously you are where you are now, but it happened a few years ago.
For sure.
What's that been like?
It took some time. I still love the game. I still love the game today. That's going to be the toughest thing is walking away from the game of basketball because I love it. As you see, I love to compete. I try my best not to step on the coach's toes walking down the sideline sometimes just because I just love to help the guys and be a part of the game when I'm not playing. So sometimes I catch myself standing next to Lloyd and I'm like, oh, all right, I'm going to go back to my seat on the other end. That's why I sit on the end of the bench. Because if I sat beside the coaches, it would be awful. Like, what is this guy doing? But I just love to compete, and that's what makes it tough to walk away. I say I'm ready, but in my mind, come September, y'all gonna have to check on me because I'm gonna be miserable. September, that's when training camp starts. And then once that's over, the first preseason game, I'll be okay. Then come October, y'all really gonna have to check on me because that's regular season. So help me out.
So one thing that's interesting, and I retired 7 years ago, and 7 years ago, and you take naps, right?
What?
So basketball players, you're nocturnal, and so you play at night. You probably won't go to bed until 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock tonight.
Probably.
You go on the road, you travel, you fly out after games, so you rely on your sort of afternoon nap.
And the cat naps in between, quick flights, those are important. I could sleep, I go to sleep on the flight like it's no big deal, but it just has to happen. When you do it so long, it's just a part of it.
Well, what will happen when you retire is your body is so accustomed to that at 1 o'clock, you're ready to shut it down. And I'll be like, just not to make it about me, but I'll be in meetings or doing things, and like literally my body's saying, okay, it's time to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So be prepared for that. Be
I
prepared.
can't wait. I can't wait.
What's that?
I can't wait. Sort of. I'm trying to talk myself into it. You know, you hear me say it a lot. I can't wait, but really I'm lying.
No,
I can wait.
Retirement's fun, I must say. Now, I got to go back to the slam dunk contest. 2000. One of the all-time best. Great field. Tracy McGrady, Steve Francis, Jerry Stackhouse. I mean, take us back. Take us back, because
I got a question about that too, that you're gonna have to answer. But now wait.
I have, no, first of all, I just want to say, this is how amazing it was. So, back then in 2000, back then, they had it in the contest where you had to have one dunk assisted by a teammate.
Yeah.
So Jerry Stackhouse, who Carolina alum,
You said it. Good for you. Feel better?
we were teammates, and so I was there to assist him on his dunk.
That was the question I was gonna ask you.
Okay, you know. And so, I don't know what order, but Vince did one of his amazing dunks that none of us had ever seen before. And I didn't want to go next. I said, Jerry, are you sure you want to go up there? He was like, yeah, let's go. I said, are you sure? Because I literally was like, I just want to go home. But I mean, like that, it was so amazing. And I mean, did you practice it? Were you prepared? Did you freestyle with these dunks you had done before?
So that night was probably, the beginning of it was probably the worst day ever to be in a dunk contest because, you know, you have practice time. So, you know, you have a car, and we were in San Francisco, obviously, the arena's in Oakland. Tracy and I, who didn't want to be in a dunk contest, I mean, literally 20 minutes before the dunk contest, he did not want to do it. He's like, for what? I'm not going to win. I said, that's not the point. Let's go put on the show. You know, he's definitely capable. You know, I just had a different agenda. Anyway, we'll get back to that. So, we get downstairs looking for our car. Our car's nowhere to be found. So we're walking around, nowhere to be found. So we ended up having to borrow another contestant's car for that night just so we can get there. Of course, for those who know, that transition from obviously to get over the bridge takes forever, and it was horrible. So we missed our practice time. So I didn't get to practice in the auxiliary gym. By the time I got there, it was near the end of the three-point contest where they're telling you to come on and get ready. You know, we're gonna announce you once this is over, trophy presentation, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, oh, this is gonna be bad. This is when Tracy's like, yeah, I'm not doing it. This is a sign. I said, you're gonna do it. We're here. We're gonna represent whatever. So it'll be great if sometimes you get to hear his story because it's pretty funny. But leading up to it, now I'm just all over the place, and I'm a thinker. You know, I think things through, especially with that, how I want the dunks to look, and so on and so forth. Because I've studied this, taped this dunk contest my entire life. My mom still has the tapes of me taping the dunk contest, and it's blurry now. You know, for those who have the VHS, when you play it so many times, it's like wavy now. That's what all of my tapes look like, just from studying it. And I just tried to figure out what was this guy thinking. So we get there, now we're in the layup line, and I'm just jumping around, literally, just trying to figure out what to do. And the routine that I actually had, I just felt it wasn't good enough. That was a losing routine. Yeah, I just, you know, and I see all these people in there, and all you guys sitting on the court, and it's just, I was just on another level, so I was just trying to figure out what to do. So the first dunk, the reverse 360, I had practiced that dunk, and I could barely make it. Like, barely make it. And for those who know me, I'm a stickler about missing dunks.
I hate it too, but it happened.
You know, that's just for me. So when I watch the contest now, or when I end up seeing them and I see miss, I just cringe. That's why I don't judge them too much, because I cringe, and I don't know how to judge that fairly. You know, I could give you my opinion on what I think, but for me, I wanted to wow you on the first try every time. And the bounce that I ended up doing between the legs, the first try was too high, but I didn't attempt it. So yeah, you might be thinking, oh, he's gonna do this, that, and the fourth, or what is he gonna do? So I just left you thinking. But that night, I tried that dunk. I did that dunk. The 180 under the basket, I'd done before a couple times. It was just okay, And then the arm in the rim, I made up that night. What was the other one?
How do you make that up? I think I'm just gonna put my arm in the rim.
So I can tell you the backstory to that. I was playing the Gary Payton's game, fooling around the layup line, jumping over the rim, placing the ball in, whatever. So I said, okay, I could do something like that, but just hold on. But I just had to figure out what side of the court. So I was trying to buy time and praying that I didn't fall off the rim. So if you notice, if you go back and watch it, you notice I walked to the rim, looking, I'm just trying to buy time because I'm thinking this through when it was my turn, like right then, and I didn't know what to do. So the last thing I did is rub my arm and said, here goes nothing. And what I wanted to get out of it was, well, first of all, it was something you've never seen or thought about, for one. For two, I didn't want to ooh or ah. I wanted to, forgive me, what the hell? Shaq's face said it all. That's what I wanted to accomplish. Just you go up there and like, is he hanging? So when I was walking back, that's when you get to see it the second time. That's when I wanted your reaction when I'm sitting down, and it worked out.
It did work out. You made it history.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you. Now, the funny thing about that, I was fine until the next morning. It was like purple, and I couldn't bend my arm that morning. I couldn't. I woke up and I was just like, oh my
But you
God.
still shot a lot in the game.
Yeah, so I iced and able to just, the adrenaline got me through it. So once the adrenaline wore off that night, you got a little sore, and as you go to sleep, you get a little sore. And when I woke up in the morning, it was like a dead arm.
Now, I remember 1995, the Magic Johnson, a high school all-star game in Detroit, Michigan. It was my first year in the NBA, and they had a slam dunk contest, and I was one of the judges.
I didn't miss a dunk in that one either.
No, I think it was only, so what happened, I think 2 people went first. You did one dunk, and they shut it down. No one else wanted to go after that one dunk. And that's what I felt like with Jerry Stackhouse when I was there with him in Oakland many years later.
Well, let me say that was my goal, not then, but that was kind of my goal in the dunk contest for you. So, you can ease your way into it, or you can make a statement. And I was swinging for the fences. I'm gonna make a statement and I'm gonna live with it. So the whole "it's over" thing was more like, I was saying it's over because I was making these dunks up that I'd never tried them, or the dunks that I tried actually worked. I was like, it's over now. My confidence is through the roof. And that's when that's why the between the legs thing is something. I saw a picture in East Bay magazine. Anybody remember those? Okay, so the jump sole.
You guys are showing your age.
Here you are. Oh, thank you. So the jump sole, there's a picture of the guy with his jumping with the ball between his legs. I saw that probably 2 weeks prior to the dunk contest. And I remembered, I said, hey, I should try that. Didn't know how to execute it, but I said I was gonna try it. And I remember telling Tracy, I said, just bounce the ball and get out of the way. And he bounced it the first time, it was too high. I remember. And he's like, what are you gonna do? I said, look, just bounce the ball and get the heck out of the way. And he was like, all right. And I remember him, last thing I remember him telling, he's like, you're crazy. I was like, sometimes you gotta be crazy.
Yeah, you gotta be crazy. Now, are you guys really cousins?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. What's in the water down there in Central Florida?
I don't know.
Jump out the gym.
It's weird how we found out too. He's coming out as obviously a high school senior, comes to Chapel Hill to play pickup that week, and he walks in our locker room and nobody was like, hey, you can use my locker. So I was like, I knew him because we played AAU. I was on the older team, he was on the younger team. We used to watch each other play all these years and had no idea we were cousins. Until that day, That week, he's working out, he's using my locker. Thursday, he's like, hey, I'm not gonna be here Friday, I gotta go to a family reunion. All right, cool, see you on Monday. Well, on the weekend, he happens to sit with my grandmother, and they're talking. So he's like, yeah, I'm going pro. I was in high school in North Carolina. She's like, oh, my grandson is at University of North Carolina. He's like, oh, really? Who? And she's like, Vince Carter. Out of all these people at our family reunion, he so happened to sit with her. And I get a phone call that Saturday. What's up, cuz? Hey, cuz. I'm like, who the heck is this? Like, on my grandmother's phone. I'm like, bro, what's up, cuz? Like, who is this? He's like, it's T-Mac. Why are you? He's like, cuz. Like, and tells the story for all these years. That's how I found out we were cousins. Play a year. We talking on the phone, and next thing I know, I enter the draft. He gets the call, cuz, I'm about to come work out for Toronto because I told him to come draft you. All right, and the next thing you know, I get drafted, and it's just the coolest thing to play with your actual cousin.
I'm gonna make sure my family doesn't play against your family. That is amazing. So 2000 slam dunk contest, Vinsanity. You're scoring 50 points a game. You're taking the league by storm. 20 years later, you're playing with a young man. Second year, 50-point games, taking the league by storm. Trae Young. Obviously, we watch and we admire his talents on and off the court, but you're in the locker room, you're there every day. Just tell us about Trae Young.
He sits by me in the locker room, so I think some days he appreciates me, some days he hates me, which is fine. That's my job, to annoy him. And, I just want to try to get the best Trae Young we can get for you guys to enjoy. And we're seeing that. And, I have to give him a lot of credit for being willing to put up with me. It's tough. When you're having a lot of success, sometimes you don't want to hear other things because you feel like you haven't figured it out. And we've fought through that. And he trusts when I'm in his ear. And I know we understand how each other works. So, when he's makes a bad play, we come in a timeout or something, I'll say something, but he doesn't acknowledge me. At first I used to get pissed, like, do you hear me? But now it's like, I say it, but I know he hears me, and later on he's like, I got you. And we move on, and so it's just, we have a thing now, and he's just on another level, playing with a lot of confidence. And I want to add, the coolest thing that happened in the Miami game is he scored that 50 points. Many years ago, I scored 51 against Miami, in Miami. And to reach 51, I had 2 free throws, the same way he did to get 50. But he missed the 51st, which I reminded him, I said, hey, back in my day, against the Miami Heat, I had the same situation. Guess what happened?
But in fairness,
I'm gonna tell you what he said. I don't want to cut you off.
50 looks better than 50.
That's what he said. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I mean, it's 50 it just looks better. 51.
So if I say I'm gonna give you 50 million.
I'm talking about money. That's a different ball. I'm talking about points.
Okay. I'd rather average 51 than 50 any day. I'm the scoring leader, if that's the case. But no, that was a running joke, but it did happen that way.
Wow.
It was pretty cool.
That's cool. This team, I mean, you've been around, you've been on teams that have contended, you've been on teams that are sort of working their way to get to that point, to be in the playoff, rebuilding projects. What's the future look like here, in your opinion?
Very bright. Very bright. And it's easy to say that because this is my team, but I'm around them every day. And the one thing that I appreciate and that I enjoy is coming into practice, and these guys are willing to listen and learn, regardless of the success of the night before that they're having throughout the year. It's easy to me. It's easy to teach anybody, or it's easy to learn when you're struggling or you're not playing well, because you're willing to listen to figure out how I can become successful and play better. It's a little tougher when you're 20 to 23 years old and having success, and then you're wanting somebody to kind of coach you or give you ideas or open your eyes to new situations on the court. And these guys are more than willing, and they allow me to annoy them by doing so. And it's fun for me. That's why I enjoy playing this game, and that's what I'll miss the most, is being able to teach by example on the court in my minutes, but actually them allow me to teach them in the heat of battle and that next day, which is very important because Trey had a 50-point game, but there's different things we talked about that he probably should have had 55. Little things, and obviously the free throw. So little things like that. And then like for Cam, we'll watch film and we'll talk. He played so great tonight, and it's funny, you know, the one thing I'm proud of him about, he struggled tremendously in the beginning of the year. A lot of people wrote him off, and social media is brutal to young guys, in my opinion. And you know, it's just right there. You just open your phone and you can read the negative comments. So when you get caught up in that, sometimes it affects these young guys on the court, which is it's tough for me to relate because when we started, there was no such thing. So I don't look at my phone. You know, once I'm locked in, it's time to go to work. I'll put my phone down and look at it until I'm walking out to my car. So if there's an emergency, my family knows who to reach out to. So it's a little different ball game. And for him to really put the work in, listen, learn, hear the outside noise, read the outside noise, but still trust in himself, in his game. And there was time that he did not trust in himself, but to have the support of the coaching staff, players, always in his ear, guys willing to work with him. Look at him now. I mean, he's just still tapping his potential and just realizing he deserves to be here. You know, this team, that's why I say his future is bright, this team's future is bright, just because these guys just want to get better, and it's going to happen. You know, so I just encourage you guys to stay patient. I encourage you to support them, because it means a lot to these guys to really know that they're supported, because I've been on teams where we weren't good and we didn't get the support, so it's kind of, you know, young guys now are sensitive. So when you look in that stands and you don't see the support, it touches your ego a little bit. You know, for some of us older guys, we just go, my job is to perform whether it's 1,000 people or 19,000 people, and they'll learn that. But now that's just the way it is, and you know, but to see fans in here supporting them, wearing their jerseys, like it means the world to these guys. Whether you hear it, read it or not, I'll be the one to tell you I'm there, and they appreciate that. And you know, cause we'll come into practice tomorrow or whatever, like, man, you know, they like it was lit tonight. You know, that's what they look for. Like they look for that support, and you can see when they're excited about what they see. Obviously, you're excited about what you see. It works hand in hand, and you really see great performances.
It's great. You were talking about Trey Young. And it's funny because, and I know it's a sign of respect, but when I talk to him, everything is yes sir, no sir. And I'm like, sir? You don't say yes sir, no sir to Vince.
No.
Yeah, exactly. So, not that, anyway.
It's this, bro.
It's the grand beer.
That's why I cut
I don't
mine.
like, my wife likes this, I don't like the beer.
That's why I cut mine.
Anyway, the best bit of advice that you would give to your younger self?
That's tough. I think it was just I was fortunate, see it's tough because I was fortunate to have a lot of veterans who gave me unreal advice for a lot of years, but I think it's just to continue to love the game. Love what you're doing. Appreciate what you have in front of you, because this game can be taken away from you. I value every day, not what's it says behind, on the back of my jersey, on the front of my jersey, it's opportunity. And I understood, I knew there were some guys who were way better than me coming up. It's just opportunity, and I took advantage of it. And what I would tell young Vince, which I understood, but it never hurts to continue to hear it, is that there's a guy out there waiting for you to mess up to take your spot. They want that opportunity. And that's what I try to remind these young guys, is like, yeah, as you know, it's tough to get an opportunity or to get drafted or to be a part of an NBA roster, but it's even tougher to stay here. So I think we look at the NBA and we feel like every player should play 10 plus years, but if you look at the league average, it's maybe 4 years. I don't know what it is now. It's like, it fluctuates from like 4.5 to like 3.5 years, and that's not very long. Think about if you're coming in at 20 years old, and at 25, you're looking for a job, and you're trying to figure out what you're gonna do next. And I mean, it's great. We watch each and every year, you see guys and you say, oh, they're in their 7th year, they're in their 10th year, they're in their 22nd year. You don't see that often because there's so many guys that we don't hear about fall to the wayside because of whatever, because they get comfortable. I'm here now, I made it. Oh, you didn't make it. You just got the opportunity. I want to say, I'm staying here. And I understood that, and I valued that, and I still value it today. And my approach each and every day, whether I play big minutes or not, is like, I still want my position. I'm trying to earn my position each and every day, even at 22 years where, like you said, you're the triple OG, you deserve to still be in the league as long as you want. I'm thankful for that, but I'd rather earn it. When I walk away, I want to say I've earned each and every point, each and every opportunity, each and every job. And it wasn't given to me. I earned it because of the work I put in over the years. So, that's what I would say. Just value what you have in front of you.
Great words. And a few more questions. Now, I know you've always given back, and obviously your foundation, the Legacy of Hope, and of course your youth basketball camp in Daytona Beach. Just talk about the importance of giving back and using your platform.
Well, the funny thing is, that was one of the first things I started before I bought myself a car or anything, is I started my foundation. And I was like, I didn't know how I could monopolize my love for helping other people and doing for other people and just helping them believe in their dreams and just giving them the knowledge of and some foundation. So I was like, we could, my mom was like, let's just start a foundation. And I don't target one particular foundation because every year I like to give other foundations and other people opportunity to benefit from the work I put in for them. And I've done my basketball camp for 22 years. And each and every year I really started doing basketball camps in college. My high school coach started, and I would come back and do this camp every year. And I took over, obviously, after I got to the NBA, and I've been doing it ever since. There, each and every day, it's just a passion of mine, just doing for the kids, being for the kids, and having pros come in like yourself and speaking to the kids, and just seeing their faces and teaching them, because I've learned so much each and every year. When you think you've heard it all and a kid has been through whatever, and you're like, wow, man, that's amazing. And every year you learn something new, and it's just great to kind of see these kids ask the questions that they ask when now kids think they know it all because of social media. But at the same time, they're locked in. And the one question I get from parents all the time, well, are you going to be there all day through camp? I'm there every day. I don't leave until the last kid is picked up is picked up by their parents, and before I go, and we do it from 8:30 to 1 every day. So for 20 years, there's only 1 year that I missed, but we still did the camp and those kids were there. because of the Olympics that year, and I still had a packed house at the camp of them supporting me from afar. So it was pretty cool.
Very cool. Now, I got a funny story in closing. So we're neighbors. We live in the same neighborhood in Florida. And I retired, I guess, 2013. And one day I'm driving down the street with my daughter, Leah. And Leah was probably 6 years old at the time. And it's, it's around early September. So, you're starting to ramp things up and, get prepared for training camp.
Tell the whole story too, please.
So we're driving down the street, and his significant other is running. She's got a nice pace, and she's running real fast. And, so we kind of slow down, and we wave, and Leon's waves. And so then we drive. It felt like about a mile, but it was up the road a little bit. We drove, and Vince is running, and he's not as smooth. He's running, he's like laboring. He's running like I would run if I tried to run up and down the court right now. And so he stops, and he's in the car, oh my God, yeah, how you doing? What's going on? So, whatever. So he takes off, we're driving, and I told Leah, I said, he's done. Like, he can't play anymore. He is absolutely done. He has nothing left in the tank. I know what it's like. Usually you're the last to know. He doesn't realize this.
He said that was it.
I said, he's done. He's like, and so 6 years later, you're still playing, and you probably could play another 6 years. One. But I just want to say congratulations on an amazing career.
Thank you.
You are a Hall of Famer.
Thank you.
First ballot.
Well, we'll see.
We are lucky to have you here with the Atlanta Hawks, the impact you're having on this team. And I look forward to your retirement so I can take your money on the golf course. Give it up. The half man, half amazing. Mr. Vince Carter.
Thank you. Real quick, I'd just like to say thank you to everybody for spending some time with us today. I know you guys could be home and doing whatever, but we're doing you a favor because there's a lot of traffic out there, so it's probably subsided right now. So you're welcome, for one. But for two, I thank everybody for your continued support over the years, and it's been a pleasure playing here for the Hawks and seeing the growth and just seeing the fandom from last year to this year. You're seeing the potential and you're believing in what the product we're trying to put on the court. And I'm sure everybody's grateful. I see Jamie there in the organization. They're definitely thankful for that. But for me, I'm just thankful for the opportunity to still play this game. And thank you for supporting me as I go into my last year. That's why I'm here, because it's a fun year. You guys made it fun for me. Thank you. That's all I can say. Thank you. I know I don't say it a lot, but I get to say it today. Thank you.